Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel today. In today's video we've got two races taken from about a week ago at Willow Springs. I decided to try something different, not a car I normally drive. It was the Mitsubishi Lancia. It was a N500 car, I think. It was a road car, one of the road cars, obviously slightly tuned up and a bit more high performance than the basic Lancia Evolution. I decided to upload these races because the guy who's actually in front of me now, we had a few issues. I mean, it started off the race here now. We all got through this corner fairly easy, and I made a little error going into the next corner now. To be fair, I don't even think it was much of an error. It was just the braking distances were so different, because I was coming out of this corner fairly well with a lot more speed, as you can see there, and I braked where I knew I could brake, pretty much just before the 50, and he braked really early and ended up tapping him, and I accepted that was my fault. So I went over to the left hand side of the track. You're going to see me stay all the way over to the left. I even just back off here massively there, stay on the wide side, let him through, but I was trying not to let the guy behind through. So we managed to give him back the position and went down, and obviously put ourselves back in third place. Trying to play fair, we give ourselves that position. It would have been an unfair position to gain the way we did it. I would have been a bit annoyed if I was him, if I would have carried on. But the fact that I let him back through, and I think it was clear to see that I'd let him back through by how wide I took that corner and how much space I gave him. So we'd give him that space, and then we had a race on our hands to try and get ourselves back up there. Top three guys. I was third fastest in qualifying. The guy on pole was one of the fastest ones, I think, in the top 10 stars, and we didn't really have a chance of in terms of race pace against him, I think, because again, this track is not one of my favourites. Never driven this car before, but you're gonna watch what I think. The guy in front actually makes a slight error going through the real tricky section after the winding section in a bit. I think he runs wide on one of the corners and gets himself all out on the gravel and goes completely off the track. We're gonna just see in a minute after this little section here, which is quite tricky, where you're braking just before the 50, trying to keep it tight in there, and then getting on the power early through here and trying to stay tight in on this corner. I think going down this hill now, and then the left, and then the right after that, he makes a little error. We're gonna have a little watch and see how he does that. Let's have a little look and see. So you can see he's gone wide there. He's got himself on the gravel there, lost the back end, and then he's out on the wide there, and he's completely lost it, and we've got past him. So it's basically from this point onwards, it was a battle between myself and the guy ahead, and it was fairly just it was just about I was trying to stay pretty I was just trying to keep it on the track and just keep it calm, because I know this track's very, very tricky. It'll catch people out like it caught the guy out who started on pole. It's one of them tracks, one little error, and it's going to take you off the track, and it's going to cost you a lot of time with all that sand and obviously gravel down the side of the track. You're not going to get back on the track very fast. So at this point, I was just concentrating on just trying to keep it clean, trying to keep it calm, and just trying to stay on the rear of the car in front. As you can see there, we nearly made the mistake that would have cost us probably more than what the leader did when he got took out, just going on that gravel. And that's one of the reasons why I put the counter steer assist on this car on this track. I actually found with it off being faster, but for the consistency, and in case that happens where you get your rear on the gravel, it basically just kept your car going and was easier to catch in that situation. So that's one of the reasons why I use the counter steer assist for this track, because it's just, if you do go on that gravel, the counter steer assist basically gives you the extra grip you need to not cause you as much of an issue as it would with it off. But it was slightly slower. There was a couple of corners it was losing me time on, mainly the fast corners. It was on the steering a bit and losing me a little, very fraction of a time. But I think overall it was just more consistent, and it was just I think a lot of people do use it on certain tracks. It's going to be one of them things that I do use on some tracks and not on other tracks. If there is a clear advantage, I'll use it. If not, I probably won't use it, because I'm not a massive fan of it. But if it's there and other people are using it because of an advantage, you're going to end up using it. So you can see now we're just staying in the slipstream at the moment of the leader. I'm trying to work out the weaknesses, where he might be weak, where I can figure out an overtaking space. The only real place you can make an overtaking move on this track that's not going to end in disaster or anything too drastic is either on the back straight going down to the final few corners, or the start straight. Really, there's not, to make a move going through these corners now, you've really got to like chuck it in there, and you risk a lot of trouble really. So you can see we're actually gaining on the lead now. We're on a really nice lap, and we're closing in and you can see he's starting to get on the gravel a bit where he's pushing really hard. We're taking it quite calm, to be honest, and I think smoother seems to be the faster way for this track. As you can see, we're really closing in with that slipstream now, and we're on a really good lap. If you look at the lap delta, 51.0, and then we're going to probably get a lot of slipstream along this straight now and on the back straight. This is where the first incident happened that I wasn't really happy about, because of, I feel like I lined this move up really well. You can see I'm lining it up, I'm waiting before I get on the power fully, and then I'm on the power really early, and I got a really nice slipstream, go to the right hand side. He goes to push us out but realises that we're pretty much past him, so he tucks back and he gives us a little tap just about there, and then in the braking zone he just clean hits me, but then he hits me again there. So at first I thought, if he's hit me on the first braking zone, that's fair enough, you know, people make mistakes. But he then hit me again, which was really annoying. We'll show that little clip towards the end of the video after this track, or after the second race when it happens again. We'll show you the clip what he did, which was really frustrating because it was the second hit that really annoyed me, and the fact that he didn't let me back pass after I had let him back pass on the first lap really wound me up. And I'm going to explain more about what happened after that, after this race, what happened. So obviously we're now in second place, and there's no chance of catching that much time up in the half a lap that's left. So I was a little bit frustrated. I ended up messaging the guy and just asking what was the reason for hitting me twice like that, and apparently it's because of braking, and because I did it on lap 1 apparently. But the difference, I straight away came back and said the difference was obviously I let you back pass, and he said he didn't realise I let him back pass, which was a bit, in my view, it was a bit lame, because it was pretty clear from the line I took that I'd give him the space back through to the corner, and I was a little bit wound up. But I give him the benefit of the doubt, and he sent me a friend request, so I thought, you know what, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'll add him, and then see how if he's in the next race, see what happens. We'll do the next race, and we'll go ahead and see how this race goes. So obviously going into race 2, I joined the race. Didn't know if he'd definitely be in there. He obviously sent me the friend request, so I thought I'd accept it. I accept most people that send friend requests on PSM, and I just thought we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. So he's starting on pole this time, we're starting second. As you can see there, the guy who lost control obviously gave up on the race after what happened to him on the previous race. And this race was a little bit more we didn't really gain too much on the guy in front throughout the race. It was quite a stalemate situation, but I was just trying to keep it calm, and we did have a couple of opportunities that I'm going to go through, and it's the reason why I got really annoyed after what happened in the first race. You know, after what he had just done in the end of that second race, the first race, sorry, I could have quite easily have just gone into him and pushed him off the track at the start of this race, and, you know, been really aggressive and just, you know, race dirty. But you can see I wasn't racing dirty. I was giving him, you know, the benefit of that. Even going into some of the corners where it was really slow through this corner, I could have really pushed up on his back and like give him a nudge, etc., if I was being really, you know, mean. But I didn't. Even going into this corner now, I braked nice and early, giving him plenty of time. He looked really on the edge. You can see there he's driving a little bit scruffy. He's run wide there. I even braked, give him the corner there, just give him space. I wasn't going to start driving dirty because of what he did to us in the previous race, but I kind of wish I did in a way now, because the guy even had the cheek, you know, the fact that he sent me a friend request and then carried on driving it like there's no other word other than rude, I think. I mean, going into this now, you can see we've got a massive slipstream, so I go over to the right to overtake him, and he just clean cuts it off there. And I had nowhere else to go other than on the gravel. And in my view, if you can see someone's already made the move to go to that right hand side, you don't cut them off like that. He should really have just left that door open a little bit and give us the space to go through that corner, or even run on the inside of him. But again, he chose he chose not to do that. He chose to be aggressive and a little bit naughty, if you ask me. I don't think he should have been doing that. I mean, other people may have a different view of that, but my view of that is I had a clear slipstream. I had already made it clear which side I was going to go, and then he's looked in his mirror, reacted to that, and just basically shut the door. And the only place I could go with it being a right hand corner is turn the wheel further right, because if it would have gone left, it would have gone flying off the track. So it was just a bit out of order. So that wound me up again a bit. But again, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I wasn't going to start driving dirty. I was a little bit wound up at the time, but I thought I'm just going to try and keep it calm, see if we get another opportunity to overtake and just see how he reacts on that. But you're going to see now, obviously lap 2, this is only lap 2, that happened on obviously the first lap. straight into the race like that. What annoyed me more was the fact that we could have probably done a move on him and been aggressive and barged him out of the way if we really wanted to. But that's not my. I don't really like driving like that. If I'm going to do an overtake, I'd rather do it fair and clean and the proper way, rather than just pushing someone out the way. Or, you know, even when I'm defending, I'll defend fair. But if someone's already made a move into the corner, like into an overtaking position, that's an actual overtaking position, like with massive slipstream like that. I mean, we had a clear slipstream, and I wouldn't just block the line as clear cut as that. I mean, there are obviously sometimes stuff happens and that, but I think with this guy in front, after what he did in the first race, it was pretty clear to the type of driver he was. Don't get me wrong, he was clearly a fast driver, clearly very good at the game. But you know, if you can't win fair, there's always that about it. I'd rather win fair than driving dirty anyway. So on to lap 3. You can see we're just trying to keep it clean, not making any stupid errors. You know, it's such an easy track to make the odd mistake on. I like to take that corner nice and tight there, as you can see there on the inside, and then get on the power early. You can see he's really pushing the limits. I mean, I don't think we were as much on the gravel as he was on the corners. We ran a little bit wide there, but again, I think he was a little bit more than what we was. We're just about staying in the slipstream, actually gaining on him a little bit, but obviously with the slipstream on this back stretch of road where you gain a real lot of slipstream. And then you can see gaining all the way through the slipstream, and then this little final corner again. It's a corner that I do struggle on, although I started getting the hang of it and how to really gain a bit of time on it. But I was tending to do it quite safe in the races. You can see there, if you start risking it too much, you run the risk of running wide, and you lose just so much time running on that gravel on the left hand side. So again, laps not too amazing. We did do a 16.2 in one of the races. It was faster than my qualifying lap, but I think in that race I made a mistake and ended up running off the track. So I'd learnt the lesson not to be pushing like to the point where you're going to make them errors, just to try and keep it nice and calm. As you can see now, obviously second to last lap. I wanted to, at this point I was trying to think now, I need to start getting closer. I'm really trying to give myself an opportunity to overtake, even if it's a last lap or this lap, and seeing how we could go about it. I mean, what happened, I'm going to say, I mean, it was the last lap that we made a move. You're going to see in a minute when we get to the last lap. And I don't think it was the dirtiest thing that he could have done, but after all the other things that had happened, it was a little bit annoying. I think it was deliberate. You're going to see what happens. It was very similar to the incident that happened on lap 1, although it was more severe in terms of where we were on the track. It didn't affect us as much as what it did on lap 1, but I think it lost us a chance of victory. Although I don't think we would have had the speed, even without what happened. I don't think we would have had the time to. I don't know. It would have been very close. You're going to see in a minute when we get to the end of this lap how things panned out. So you can see there, we're into the 1 minute 16.8. It's not the fastest lap, but it's not the worst lap. 16.9, sorry. You can see we've been fairly consistent with our laps. Nothing too fast and no real bad laps. So going through these final corners now, this is where I really needed to think about keeping it clean and try and get as much time gained on him as possible to get in the slipstream. So I did try and push a little bit harder through these sections. You see I got that corner a little bit more aggressive, managed to get the line really smooth through this, got on the power fairly early. I could see that he was starting to get really scruffy. I could see he was probably starting to worry a bit. He seemed to not deal with pressure too well with the way he reacted when he was under pressure, obviously by just cutting off the line, etc. And I could see now we had got ourselves quite sufficiently in the slipstream. As you can see now, going down the back straight, you get such a big slipstream from this back straight on this track. Obviously running in high gears, you do tend to get a lot of slipstream on GT Sport. So now going into the final corner, I didn't want to just lunge it up the inside there or throw anything like daft up. I just held off and tried to get a really clean exit, as you can see now. So we got a really clean exit and we got the slipstream. So I made my move to the right hand side, and then he goes to cut me off and he actually pushes me there. So I actually ended up giving him a nudge back. Now I don't think we would have actually won that. I think it would have been very close. But he did definitely slow us down a little bit on the line. It would have been a real close finish, but it still was. But the fact that he tried to push me off on the track a little bit, I don't know if he was a bit late on the blocking and then he's realised, but I ended up giving him a little nudge, and I just wasn't. I ended up deleting him after that because I really was not too happy about his driving during all them different incidents. So we'll go back and we'll have a little quick look at that first incident, the incident now that I was telling you about on the start of the race and see what you guys think on the first race. Okay, so you can see now this is going into that the final corner where we got the massive slipstream, and we went for that overtake on the race one when he gave us a little nudge on the rear end. As you can see there, we got a massive slipstream. We made the move, we pulled out beside him. He went to do the same thing as he did on the end of the race, but he backed out of that one. And then you can see, I'm pausing it now just to see the touch there. He gave us a touch there, and I don't know whether that was deliberate or not, whether he was just trying to get back in the line. Probably trying to get back in the line, but with all the other stuff. And then he nudges us there, and then it's that second nudge here. You can see he gives us that second punt that just knocks us completely off. And the fact that he doesn't even brake or nothing after that just tells me instantly that he clearly wasn't the cleanest of drivers, even though he told me in a message that he sent me a friend request, obviously, oh yeah, I'm such a clean driver, I'm not normally like that, and then he goes and does that in the first race, and then in the second race also with that, trying to block us very aggressively. So I ended up deleting him anyway, so that's how that race ended. I'm sure we'll have some more clean battles in the future. We'll be back on GT Sport, obviously, to get some more races. We've been trying to mix the games up, and I hopefully get back on GT Sport either today or tomorrow and get some more races done. Anyway guys, hope you've enjoyed the video. It was just another it would have been a good race if he would have just kept it a bit cleaner. It's a shame as well because he clearly had good speed, but some people just clearly do not like getting beat. I don't think, you know, they'll defend at any opportunity, and it's the one thing that winds me up in racing games. But that's how it is, and we'll be back with more videos very soon. Thanks again for watching, and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed. Hit that notification button, and also click the thumbs up button for if you've enjoyed this video, and we'll be back with more Assetto Corsa, Project Cars 2 and Gran Turismo Sport videos very soon. Thanks again for watching.